Hello, good evening. It's the last Saturday of the year. In the next 60 minutes, we bring you a special edition of NEWSAT10 with a review of the major events that dominated the media space, cutting across various sectors. My name is Grace Hamwasari.
And I am Parkwesi Asari. Tonight we're live on your DSTV channel 279, as well as on Facebook Live and on 3news.com. Let's begin with a summary of the day's major news stories.
I present to you the parliamentary candidate-elect for the new Patriotic Party in the Ayawaso West constituency.
One of the widows of late Ayawaso West Wagon MP, Emmanuel Chemantin Ejakom, has been elected by the new Patriotic Party as the parliamentary candidate for the January 31 by-election. Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan secured 441 votes to see off competition from 4 other candidates. Gambaga wants Northeast capital. The chiefs and people of Gambaga, spearheaded by the Gambaga Youth Association, are lobbying government to make Gambaga the capital of Northeast region. This comes after the overboard of Mampugu Nairi Mahama Bohagu Sheriga requested for the capital to be in Nalerugu a day after the December 27 referendum.
Elsewhere, young Fatawa was not in school. He used to roam about in Gareba, a village in the central district of the Ashanti region, until a good Samaritan saw him and took him to school. Bright Nana Amfo reports young Fatawa is now in class 3 at age 14. On the international front, police in Egypt have killed dozens of militants during security raids on their hideouts. The raids killed 40 terrorists in Gaza in North Sinai on Saturday morning, according to a statement from the ministry. Police killed 30 militants during 2 early morning raids in Giza, while the remaining 10 were killed in El Arish, the capital of North Sinai province. We're live on our various social media platforms on Facebook with CV3 Ghana. Send us your views and comments on the major stories that were topical and trending for you in the year. Let's go to our first story and start off from the education sector, where issues related to the double-track education system introduced under the free senior high school program and the sexual abuse of female students at some senior high schools across the country featured prominently.
The year began with newly elected executives of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, SETAG, serving notice to embark on a year-long strike if government fails to grant members market premium. The association gave government up to the end of January to constitute a governing council for Colleges of Education and also demanded implementation of the market premium to its members to be concluded by the end of April 2018. On Monday, September 12, SETAG will do its services in all 46 public colleges of education across the country. All 46 colleges of education were shut down indefinitely following 21 days of inactivity. The teachers resumed work after the month-long strike following an intervention by the National Labour Commission. In July, some 9 teachers of Ejusuman Senior High School were interdicted after allegations of abusing some female students. Over a dozen of the students who testified confirmed they were sexually abused in various forms, prompting the sector minister, Dr. Matthew Poku, to take regional directors on if they failed to protect female students. The Ghana Education Service dismissed 11 of its staff for breaching the Professional Code of Conduct, 9 for sex-related misconduct, and 3 for stealing. Government adopted the double-track school calendar under its free senior high school program to meet increased enrollment in September. The green and gold tracks enrollments were introduced for freshers.
It's natural that people are apprehensive because they haven't seen it before. We are going to embrace a situation where every Ghanaian child up to the age of 18 is enrolled in a school, and that we want to make sure that these things happen. We cannot be a developed country where about half of the country is illiterate.
Educationists, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders raised concerns about the novelty and called for more dialogue on its sustainability. In October, there were clashes between the internal security of KNUST and some students over a ban of some activities on campus following the conversion of all male hall into mixed ones. A peaceful march by students in protest against alleged brutalities meted out to them by campus security turned chaotic after rampaging students damaged at least 20 vehicles and other university property. Following the violent protest, the school was temporarily shut down and a new interim council constituted.
There is the need for reforms in the policies of the university to reverse the status quo and restore the true independence of the students. The students must control their resources.
The university reopened after 3 weeks. The finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, during the 2019 budget reading disclosed government had commenced processes to consolidate 3 public tertiary institutions. The Ghana Institute of Journalism, Ghana Institute of Languages and the National Film and Television Institute into a new university to be known as the National Institute of Communication and Media Arts. In the last month of the year, the Ghana Institute of Journalism had to cancel the writing of a paper in its semester examination because of a student protest after those who had not paid their fees were disallowed entry into examination halls.
I made my final payments on 27th November and 1st December, an amount of 1,750 added to what I'd already paid already. So I'm left with only a balance, and they've deducted the penalty. So I'm left with only a balance of 350, and I'm still being denied. I've paid 80% of the fees, and I'm still being denied. The only thing they say is that the portal has been closed. I don't understand. This is the first semester. It's not like it's the second semester and people are about to write their final exams. And so I don't understand why they will say that the 100% of the fees in the first semester, and without that you can't write.
The Timpani Senior High School in the Upper East region was closed down following a hunger strike by some students to demand the reinstatement of the school's suspended headmaster. The headmaster, Ndegu Amolale, was suspended by the Ghana Education Service for allowing national organizer of the National Democratic Congress, Joseph Akamba, to campaign in the school against the Education Ministry's policy. He was reinstated on Monday, December 17, after an investigative committee that looked into the matter found him not guilty.
The issues in KNUST, Grace, were quite serious. I'm sure you monitored the developments there, didn't you?
Yes, they were. They were. I followed through to the Senado Tumfor even had to come in to ensure that peace was restored, the council was set up and all that. So this story, it's more like a refresher for everybody.
I guess
to get to know what happened in the year, make reflections so that 2019 we don't have some of these issues repeating themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's know what you make of the top stories that make headlines, made headlines throughout 2018. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter and share with us your thoughts. Now, let's go to the health sector. And the no-bed syndrome, which resulted in the death of a 70-year-old man despite having been taken to more than 5 public health facilities, was one of the many issues which caused public outrage. The medical drone delivery deal also dominated headlines.
2018 was quite an eventful year for the health sector. In April, some frustrated, bonded, unemployed nurses and midwives demonstrated over what they claimed was government's failure to post them. The licensed health professionals said they could no longer tolerate government assurances, resulting in a street protest. They complained of neglect after leaving school in 2018. They gave government a 2-week ultimatum to address their concerns or picket at the Ministry of Health and the Jubilee House. The month of May recorded what was arguably the biggest story in the health sector. The issue was discussed for months, culminating in some changes regarding admissions in all government hospitals. A 70-year-old man, Prince Anthony Opoku-Champong, lost his life as he was refused medical care at 7 hospitals in Accra because of the unavailability of a bed. His family took him to the Kolebu Polyclinic, Ridge Hospital, Police Hospital, the Trust Hospital, the La Polyclinic, then finally to the Lekma Hospital at Teshi, where he finally died in his car. This caused public outrage, bringing to the fore the seriousness of the no-bed syndrome.
We're told that it being Sunday, they don't have the facilities available to take care of him. You see, there's no excuse. If you think through it, there's just no excuse.
When the doctor declared your father dead,
I wanted to slap
you wanted to...
I wanted to slap him.
The issue refused to die off, with various stakeholders wading into the discussion to demand justice for persons who lose their lives because of the unavailability of hospital beds. Quickly, pressure was mounted on health authorities. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Siasare, issued a directive to all health institutions not to turn patients away due to the lack of beds. The Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, called for a law that would make it criminal for patients to be turned away from hospitals, while a committee was set up by the Health Ministry to investigate the death of the 70-year-old man.
Right Honourable Speaker, this no-bed syndrome is not only a public health issue, it is a national security matter. This House is representative of the nation enough and legally empowered adequately to go into this matter and lead the way in finding a potent policy to address this no-bed problem.
The incident compelled journalists to file reports on some hospitals which have been completed yet remain closed. It emerged some 11 health facilities, including the Legon Medical Center, had been completed but abandoned in parts of the country. Some of the facilities were under lock and key because of equipment to run them, while others needed personnel to get it working. The Health Minister, Kwukwajima Menu, said he was unaware of the existence of the 11 health facilities that had been abandoned, although some were opened after the revelation. In July, the University of Ghana Medical Center was officially opened after a back and forth between the University of Ghana and the Ministry of Health over who to run it. The facility commenced operations on Wednesday, July 18, to cater for only referral outpatient department OPD cases in the short term.
We're going to open the facility stage by stage. And the first stage is start with the specialist consultation, which is known as the outpatient services. Even that, we're going to start small with a few clinics, and over time, the 10 or 12 clinics will come on stream.
The 650-bed facility, built at a cost of $217 million, had been dormant for more than 18 months after the first phase of the project was inaugurated by former President John Dramani Mahama on January 4, 2017. Still in the month of June, the sacking of former Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital also sparked controversy. Dr. Anya, in a letter released to the media by the presidency, was relieved of his duties as the boss of the nation's premier hospital. Although the letter didn't specifically state what led to the removal of Dr. Anya, rumors in the media stated that it was due to some corruption allegations.
The government does things. I support what the government will do. I'm a Christian. Some things don't work the way you work. You would like it. But that's the way life should be.
But the decision didn't go down well with the workers who felt Dr. Anya had spearheaded development in the hospital and demanded to know the reasons for his dismissal. They protested over his sacking. The month of August witnessed another incident from the vigilante group affiliated to the governing New Patriotic Party, the NPP, the Kandahar Boys. Members of the group chased out the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital and locked the offices. The group accused the Chief Executive, David Kolbila, of mismanagement, corruption and nepotism. They also allege that Dr. Kobila has established a number of companies which he uses to lobby for supplies for the hospital. It took the intervention of the Regional Security Council led by the Northern Regional Minister to resolve the matter. Dr. Kobila is back to work, but the police is yet to effect any arrest. In September, over 200 graduate nurses also staged a protest to compel government to release their financial clearance for their postings. The protesters joined their counterparts in the other regions to get government to address their concerns. The protesting nurses, who initially converged at the Kumasi Jubilee Park, marched through some principal streets of the metropolis. They entered the procession at the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, where a petition was submitted to the Ashanti Regional Minister for onward submission to government. In November, the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, MOWAG, threatened to embark on a strike if their complaint submitted to the Health Ministry does not receive any fruitful outcomes by November 19. Their action surprised many, as they were not noted to take such actions to get attention in view of the public health problem any strike could result in. The association said its members have been working more than the required 8 hours without being allowed to take their annual leave. A statement signed by General Secretary of the association, Richard Kofi Jordan, also stated there is no provision for universal medical checkups for workers, among many other illegalities they want the government to correct. The National Labour Commission intervened and held meetings with the two factions for a resolution. During the second week of November, the Ghana Health Service announced the death of some 15 people at Temamahia in the Greater Accra region. The deaths occurred within 2 weeks, causing fear in the community. A traditional priest, Agbofuache Ni Abor Kome, attributed the death to a curse on the community and directed residents to undertake a spiritual bath in the sea to cleanse themselves. Residents trooped to the seashore to carry out the spiritual bath. But the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, reacting to public outcry of a possible outbreak of some strange disease, said the deaths had no link to any infectious disease and that they were purely lifestyle related. A team of medical experts were deployed to 2 communities in the Tema metropolis, which recorded the deaths to keep the area under surveillance. Health Minister Kukwajima Menu outlined some interventions to address the issue. Finally, in December, the controversial drone project reared its head. Government, through the Vice President, announced plans to commence the distribution of blood products and other emergency medical supplies to deprived communities using drones in 2019. According to the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the move is part of plans by government to deploy technology to save lives and improve the health conditions of the population. The opposition in Parliament, however, raised concerns about the cost of the project, arguing that it is too expensive and a misplaced priority for a country which has very few ambulances. But the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, at a press conference, dismissed rumors that the project was expensive and would cripple the government's budget. The Ghana Medical Association, GMA, kept hard on government to immediately suspend the planned implementation of the policy. The GMA, in a press statement, called for a broader stakeholder engagement on the issue, saying they were not averse to the use of technology to improve healthcare delivery. The Ghana Health Service described the deal as extremely useful and called on all Ghanaians to support the idea, but some think otherwise about the drone system. But despite several concerns about the use of the drone technology, Parliament finally approved the deal after 3 failed attempts. 102 MPs voted for the deal, while 58 dissented.
All right, the death of the 70-year-old man was a major subject here in Ghana. Lots of newspapers and radio stations.
Social media platforms. Absolutely. Everybody across the length and breadth of the country.
Really terrible, and I hope that moving forward we're going to deal with such challenges. And also the opening of the Legon Hospital.
Yes.
There was a lot of pressure mounted on government.
It took the, let me say, confidence of one student to carry a placard and wave to the First Lady and say, open UGMC now. And then some few days after that,
I remember that vividly.
It was open. But in the story, we had the Speaker of Parliament saying that an investigation has begun into the event that led to the death of the 70-year-old man. So 2019, we're looking forward to the publication of the reports of the investigation, as well as he also said that there was going to be a law to declare criminal if you turn a patient. And we're also looking forward to that on what Parliament is going to do on these two issues so that we have some form of serenity or sanity in the health sector.
Right, so you're still watching 2018 year in retrospect. We're doing a review of the year 2018. What for you was major in the year 2018? Feel free to share your views with us. Visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter. Grace, what do we have next? So
we'll go to the Labour front, which was relatively calm in 2018 despite threats of strikes and demonstrations by some unions. Our correspondent, Daniel Opoku, takes us through notable events in the course of the year.
On 22nd January 2018, government through the Controller and Accountant General Department transferred 3.1 billion cedis to the registered schemes of the 12 labor unions. The amount was expected to be invested into bonds and other securities to benefit pensioners who would retire this year. But the 12 labor unions said they would scrutinize the process to ensure equity. On 12 February 2018, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission cautioned agencies which had been weaned off government subvention not to increase their salaries by 100%. According to the Commission, any astronomical increase would distort the public sector pay structure and trigger discontent among government agencies. On 1st May 2018, President Akufo-Addo said his administration would seek to establish a world-class labor force aimed at addressing concerns of workers in the public sector. Addressing workers to commemorate May Day in Kumasi, the president said it was time to review the single-spine salary structure having been implemented since 2010. The National Labour Commission directed the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to address the salary distortions of members of the Ghana Biomedical Lab Sciences by July 31 for payments by the Controller and Accountant General's Department. The Commission said failure to comply with the directive as stated in its Memorandum of Understanding could affect industrial relations. The Deputy Chairperson of the Commission, Rose Kakari Anang, called for a prompt response from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union on July 25, 2018 requested government not to wean itself totally from the IMF. General Secretary Solomon Kotai was of the view the IMF intervention had stabilized the economy and streamlined government expenditure. On 15 October 2018, the Trade Synod Congress TUC kicked against the National Cathedral project. Its Deputy Secretary General Joshua Ansah described the intended project as a misplaced priority on the part of government following what he termed the economic challenges confronting the country. The Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana (CTAG) on December 5, 2018 called off its month-long strike following another intervention by the National Labour Commission. The resumption of work was to pave way for the commencement of negotiations as directed by the NOC. On 19 December 2018, the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union and the General Agricultural Workers Union (GAU) called on President Akufo-Addo to reshuffle the board chairman of Cocoa Board Hackman Owusu-Ajimai. According to the two unions, it received complaints and reports that the board chairman was abusing the rights of workers and disallowed the payment of their bonuses and benefits. Despite relatively few industrial action and stress of strike, 2018 was calm.
All right, so away from the labor front, in the year under review, the energy sector witnessed the then Energy Minister Boakye Jarko being sacked by the President in August following the controversial Ameri Power Deal review. Now, civil society organizations, including the Institute for Energy Security, the IES, had called for the then sector minister to resign or be sacked by the President.
The renegotiated agreement was to prolong the 5-year agreement to 15 years, when the original contract had only 2.5 years left for the country to own the Jet Angel thermal power plant.
If we want to crack the whip, then we should look at all those people that supported the minister in making that decision that has brought us to this very point. So I think that we need to take a clear look at that as well. And we'll be surprised when we find any of this minister made a substantive minister, because we know what's in the offing. And we don't think that if they were with him, then we could call them collaborators.
Former Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Peter Amewu took over as the Minister of Energy. On price of petroleum products, it shot up from 4 cedis 49 pesos to 4 cedis 67 pesos at the pump in the first pricing window in January. Prices were increased by 4% at the local pumps for both gasoline and gas oil. This was attributed to crude oil prices surging on the global commodity market, as Brent crude price averaged $67.70 per barrel from a previous average of $63.78 per barrel, a rise of 6.21%. In June, fuel prices went up by an average of 3%, translating into pump prices by oil marketing companies from 4 cedis 67 pesos to 4 cedis 78 pesos per liter for gas oil, and from 4 cedis 66 pesos to 4 cedis 80 pesos per liter of petrol. In October 2018, fuel prices were highest in the year and averaged 5 cedis 16 pesos at the local pumps for both diesel and petrol. This was attributed to increment in the price of finished products and crude oil prices on the world market, and the weak performance of the Ghana cedi against major trading currencies. An average of 5.8 reduction at the pumps in December brought prices down to 4 cedis 98 pesos.
5.8% reduction for petrol, 4.8% reduction for diesel, 2.46% reduction for LPG.
In October, Tema Oil Refinery, TOR, took delivery of the first 950,000 barrels of crude oil on board the MT British Heritage and started refining 250 barrels of crude daily. On October 16, President Akufo-Addo launched the country's first oil and gas exploration licensing round.
It is obvious that the pace of oil exploration has slowed considerably. Given that production is taking place at a faster rate than reserves are being added, we need to reverse this state of affairs immediately.
Blocks 2, 3, and 4 are for open bidding, while deep water blocks 5 and 6 are to be allocated through direct negotiations. Block 1 will be reserved for the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC.
For the competitive bidding, it continues for a period of 8 months, leading to the signing of petroleum agreements in August 2019. So you see that the competitive bidding is going to take longer because it's competitive, and you have to make sure that everybody has a chance to compete. And when they compete, you evaluate them fairly.
In the year under review, 1 person died and at least 10 people were injured, with 4 others in critical condition after a gas explosion at Trinity Gas Station at Kofrom Tafo in Shiayeso in Kumasi. On November 13, Excel Fuel Station at Techiman in the Bono Ahafo region on the main Kumasi-Techiman road was gutted by fire after an explosion. The explosions reinforced the National Petroleum Authority's determination to implement the gas cylinder recirculation policy.
Apart from looking within, look around yourself and see what exactly are others doing. Are they getting the same results as you? Do you face the same problems as the other neighboring countries? And thirdly, you also have to look at the broader objective of deepening the penetration of LPG consumption in the country.
All right.
Okay, yes, a very interesting sector there, the energy sector.
Indeed.
We had a lot of complaints from the public because the price of fuel was going up. I think it went up 5 times in 2018, and that's raised a lot of concerns. But getting to the end of the year, we saw some reductions, and so we are even expecting a lot more, as predicted by some energy analysts. And then the resignation of the removal of the energy minister.
It was one major discussion. Lots of speculation still ongoing as to why he was actually sacked. I don't know why he was sacked until now. If you know, kindly share with us why he was sacked. You're still watching News at 10, an extended version of the News at 10. We're doing a review of major happenings in 2018. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare, and I'm here with
Grace Hamwa. Before we go on that break, a few of your comments that have come in on our Facebook page. This one is from Phyllis Amevo, which says, education in Ghana needs a lot more work to be done. That's Phyllis from Phyllis Amevo on Facebook. This one says, good job there, Grace and Pa Kwesi. Ghana needs to be serious as a country. And then Daniel Alitu Kasaguto from the north says, great job there, TV3. Thank you for refreshing us throughout the year. This is what others are saying. You can also send us your views and comments on all our various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, 3news.com, and they'll be read live on this program. We're back shortly after this break. Don't go away.
All right.
Welcome back. You're also watching the standard edition of NEWSAT10 here on TV3 because we're doing a review of all the stories that were topical and trending during the year. My name is Grace Hamwa Asare. I'm here with another Asare.
Thanks very much for joining us. Those of you at home can also join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories tonight. Let's know what you consider major on the top of your mind for the year 2018. Grace, in the maritime sector, what for you was a major story?
I think the maritime sector was very on the low before the issue about the Director General having supervised some disbursement of funds that people thought was too much for what it was meant for. Talking about their end-of-year party and some lunch for some people, so that is what rightly comes to mind as soon as the maritime sector is introduced. So let us take you through that sector and happenings in the maritime industry and defining movements that shaped the sector.
We began the year with some big stories making headlines. Some issues were so compelling, which were solved. Others still lingers on. The brouhaha on the introduction of a fumigation policy meant to clean imported containers was to be implemented by the Ghana Shippers Authority at the country's seaport. That policy was a headache to many, dragging on for weeks and compelling the government to cancel it after fierce agitation from Guta and importers. The paperless system has shocked 1 year, and government says it has improved revenue and changes have yielded results.
We must have a seamless, interoperable integration between the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and Customs. Importers are very smart. Once they know that the two systems are not speaking to each other, they find a way to circumvent.
During the year, about 60% of work on the Tema Port expansion was completed, and 25% of export traffic have also increased.
Will be put in operation probably as a soft start to register trucks and get the operation, the training.
Fisherfolks and importers in the western region also got a new fishing harbour as works of the new facility was completed and open.
Indeed, the fishing industry accounts for some 4% of our gross domestic product GDP and provides many employment opportunities for our young men and women.
During the year, 6 firms were shortlisted to be selected to partner government to revamp the Tema PSC shipyard.
The stage 1 of this selection process, which involved the evaluation of investor qualification statement, has been completed.
The year will also not go down with the infamous cargo tracking note. CTN
was for importers to provide real-time information on all containers to Ghana to a global monitoring platform at a cost of $100 and $200.
With regards to the cost, at one point they say GRA is going to bear the cost. At another point, they say the importer is going to bear the cost.
The raging debate lasted for days, but the controversial CTN policy took effect on October 15, 2018, despite the protest and a court action.
Importers whose imports from records exceed 36 20-foot equivalent units per year will be required to obtain a CTN number in the country of export.
In May this year, the Ministry of Trade and Industry entered into an agreement with the Ghana Link Network Services Limited to deploy the Unipass customs technology for a single window platform. The Unipass, according to the port users, was only a duplication of role that GCNet and Custom Worlds are already carrying out till 2023 and 2020.
We believe that the issues we have outlined are issues of germane importance to the survival of our port. And to sit down to say that because the contract has been signed, so we won't talk, it will be a dereliction of our duty.
But somehow, the Ministry of Trade and Industry has justified the action.
The two existing systems would have to be scrapped. This new one is doing what the two will do together and many more.
This year, the Ghana Maritime Authority boss, Kwame Owusu, also came under serious attack after the media exposed his alleged dealings on spending 1 million cedis to convert a 2-bedroom house into bedrooms, which he admitted was a value for money after a strict auditing.
Tender process went through administration. The bills of quantities was done by prestige. So the Director General could not have influenced the outcome and gave it to my friend and said, increase the money so that when they do it, I can have your so-called chop-chop.
Josephine Frimpong, TV3 News.
You're still watching 2018 in retrospect live here on TV3. We're also streaming live on Facebook. You can join us with your views, comments and suggestions. If you feel strongly about any of our subjects tonight, let's now turn our attention to legal matters, where the Supreme Court on June 7 brought finality to issues surrounding the pre-trial disclosures after it ordered the Attorney General to hand over all documents to former top officials of the National Communications Authority and a businessman standing trial for causing financial loss to the state. This, many, especially legal practitioners, have described as a major leap towards criminal justice reforms in the country.
The year started with the attack on the Kwabenya police station on Sunday, January 21, which led to the escape of 7 suspects. A police officer on duty, Inspector Emmanuel Ashilevi, was also killed in the attack. A manhunt by the Accra Police Command led to the arrest of the 12 suspects who were arraigned before an Accra Circuit Court. The court, however, handed 2 of the suspects a total of 5 years for jailbreak. The court also handed 2 other suspects a total of 66 months for various roles played in the attack, while discharging 6 other suspects. Presiding Judge Justice Aboagye Tando, delivering his judgment, stated the prosecution failed to lead any substantial evidence against the 6 accused persons. The 6 persons include George Yeboah, Edward Latte, George Saba, Elvis Owusu, George Asante, and Theodore Banda. In the same month, the Kumasi Circuit Court sentenced the first suspect in the Bantama gang rape case, a 20-year-old young man, to 7 years in prison with hard labor. The other 4 suspects, who were referred to the juvenile court in connection with the sexual assault at Bantama in Kumasi, were also sentenced to serve in a senior correctional facility for 36 months each. Still in January, the immediate past Director General of the National Communications Authority (NCA), William Tete Tevi, and a former board chairman of the NCA, Eugene Bafuboni, another board member, Nano Usu Ansel, a former Deputy National Security Coordinator, Alhaji Salifu Osman, and a private businessman, George Opon, were all brought before court and charged with causing financial loss to the state. The case is still being heard in court. However, during the trial, defense lawyers maintained the AG was constitutionally obligated to furnish all the suspects with all the documents, whether the state would use them or not, relating to the cases against their client. The AG, Gloria Kufu, argued she was prepared to hand over documents the state would be relying on, but contested the demand for all documents, be they relevant or not. She said there was no law grounding their demand and that she was being magnanimous by offering to give them relevant documents. Dissatisfied with the AG's position, the suspects and their lawyers proceeded to the Supreme Court for a constitutional interpretation, forcing the lower court to suspend hearing into the criminal cases against the former government officials. The Supreme Court, in its decision, read by Justice Sophia Dinra Thursday, June 7, 2018, stated that the current restrictions in Ghana's laws impede justice delivery. The court therefore ordered that all documents be handed over to the suspect and their lawyers, except where there is justification not to. Deputy AG Godfred Yeboadame said he was satisfied with the decision because it chimed perfectly with what the state's argument has been. Most legal practitioners lauded the Apex Court, adding it brought great relief to them as most often prosecutors ambushed the defense lawyers during the trial. In July, some other government officials were also arraigned before the court. The state leveled criminal charges against the former Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, Ernest Thompson, and 4 others over the controversial $72 million operating business suit OBS contract awarded to Perfect Business Solutions. The 29 charges leveled against the 5 individuals included conspiracy to willfully cause financial loss to the state, willfully causing financial loss to the state, defrauding by false pretense, contravention of Public Procurement Act, possession of forged document, authoring forged document, among others. The others are former head of IT department Caleb Kweku Afaglo, former OBS project manager John Hagan Mensah, and Juliet Hassana Kremer of IT company Perfect Business System, as well as Peter Haibo, former general counsel of SNIT. The case is still being heard at the High Court. Also being heard in court is the case involving the former CEO of Cocoa Board, Stephen Opuni. The Apex Court also put to rest the contention over former President Mahama's decision to grant presidential pardon to the Muntie Three. It was a 5-2 Supreme Court decision that dismissed the writ challenging the presidential pardon granted the Muntie Three by former President John Dramani Mahama. The Supreme Court was of the view that the Constitution of Ghana clothes the president with some powers, which includes the remission of convictions, even in criminal cases, as well as contempt of court. And once the due process was followed by the former president, the Supreme Court cannot challenge or question that particular decision. The Apex Court has set January 16, 2019 to deliver judgment in the case challenging the construction of the National Cathedral. The plaintiff, James Kwabena Bonfe, argues that Ghana is a secular state and it was therefore wrong for the state to be excessively entangled in any religion or religious practice. But Deputy Attorney General Godfred Dame maintains a country that has observed principal religious celebrations as public holidays cannot be said to be one that does not recognize the existence of a supreme being of God. Just before the Christmas, the case involving N1 aka Asha 1 and 4 other Chinese alleged to be involved in illegal mining in Galamsey was brought to an end. This was after the senior state attorney, Mercy Arthur, presented the application for nolle prosequi to the Accra High Court, presided over by Justice Charles Eko-Baden. Based on the application, the court discharged the 5 accused persons. The Immigration Service subsequently deported the 5 Chinese nationals. With the funds made available for the Office of the Special Prosecutor, 2019 promises to see the prosecution and trial of former and current government officials found to have caused financial loss to the state.
Right, so Grace, you've got some messages?
Yes, Pakwesi, here on Facebook, this is coming from Abu Suhaila Afandi, who was joining us all the way from Lebanon, and he says, thank you TV3 for what I described as a refresher course for 2018. Interesting comments there. This one is coming from Bright Benefit. He says, thank you TV3 for this review. Indeed, you are first in news, best in entertainment. Thank you, Bright. Gabi Mensa is joining us from Malta, and he says, great work TV3. Yes, Malta, watching live from Malta, and it just feels like watching in Ghana. Now, Richard Amaku Atadankwa says, good work done, Media General. I'm watching you live from Kumasi. Please, the first ever teacher licensure exams for newly trained teachers was also implemented. And Abu Saila comes again and says, education in Ghana need a lot of support. Please, TV3, help us and tell the government to do something. Pakwesi, this is a message for you directly. Okay. Pakwesi, please alert the authorities to watch this 2018 review. Very significant to all of them, especially them. So, PK, you have a task to,
I'll do that.
to perform
All
tomorrow.
All right, so keep the messages coming in. Let's know what you make of the major stories that made headlines throughout 2018. This is your extended version of News at 10. We're also bringing you 2018 in retrospect. We're bringing all the major stories from all the major sectors in the country. We'll take a short break. When we return, we've got more coming up your way.
Snow Music Studio.